Hey, it's me, back again with another opinion video, and today I want to talk about the state of StarFox as currently today, because it's a franchise that it has had its up and downs, and some really high highs and some not so much. And since I had fun with this franchise, specifically Star Fox 64 and Assault, it's important to state that Star Fox is a franchise that deserves another chance at the spotlight, since Star Fox Zero did not do the franchise any favors, even though I don't think it's a bad game, because I haven't played it myself, so I guess I can't really say if it's a good game or a bad game if I haven't played it. But I do think that people exaggerated how bad that was. The Star Fox series doesn't have a lot of games. It's only comprises of the Super Nintendo one, two, the one that's was released in last year, or if not in 2018. I don't remember when the Super Nintendo Classic released. The always the fan favorite Nintendo Star Fox 64. The not so much adventures that was really different from all the Star Fox games that came before it. Star Fox Assault, the game that tried to fusion kind of a bit of what Adventure did and Star Fox 64, but didn't do it quite right. Although I thought the game was quite fine and actually fun, but that's just me. And then there's Command that was very inspired by Star Fox 2, with a whole tactical map and strategy. The Star Fox 3DS remaster, and finally Star Fox Zero, a very controversial game, probably just because of its controls. For those who don't know what kind of game Star Fox is, Star Fox is usually an on-rail shooter where you shoot lasers with your spaceship and at your enemies in a on rails, where you go to planet, destroying the forces of Andros to save the Lilet system, and usually fight a guy with two hands and a severed head. That's the usual Star Fox gameplay, or at least how the franchise started before it started changing with the adventures. The Super Nintendo ones established this type of gameplay. 64 refined what the original Super Nintendo titles did, and that was it for Star Fox for a while. And until the early 2000s, on the GameCube era, Star Fox Adventures was created, who was radically different to all previous Star Fox games, because the focus this time was not the on-rail shooter, but it was more of a action adventure game, a Zelda style, and it was really weird to go from spaceships to just using a staff for fighting dinosaur people. I mean, I thought the game was good, but it really was very different. And the typical Star Fox gameplay, this on-rail shooter, was tacked onto the game. But outside of that, the game was perfectly fine, although it had some minor issues. But Assault is where the Star Fox games start to go back to its roots, with more on-rails missions. Well, half the game being on-rail shooters, and other part of the game was on ground missions. I thought they were really fun, although I did not appreciate the tank controls on the ground missions. But thankfully the game was developed around it, because if it wasn't, it wouldn't have been fun at all. I also appreciated that they didn't make Andros the villain for Assault, that it was actually these insect types monsters from space. Star Fox Command went to the style of Star Fox 2, where you are given a map and you decide where to go, with some dialogue options where you can choose where to go, or what to do, or what the characters do, or what characters are with you. Because something new that Star Fox Command introduced to the franchise is the multiple endings, which I thought that Star Fox didn't need, but it was appreciated because if you didn't like one ending, you can choose another one. So that was great. Although the touch controls were not my favorite, and Command is definitely my least favorite Star Fox game because of it. But it has its fun moments, and I think that you should try it out. You can have fun if you give it a chance. In Star Fox Zero, the game that I can't talk about much because I haven't played it, well, it looks visually stunning and it looks beautiful and runs well. I don't have a feel for the gameplay because, well, it was released on the Wii U, so it was not successful. And which, speaking of which, the Star Fox franchise as a whole has never done well financially, or at least not consistently well, because I think the only Star Fox game that sold well was 64, and that's also the one that people consider to be the best one. And because of this success and failure of Star Fox, 64 being successful, Adventures, Assault, Command, and Zero also failures, with some hype behind them, but they were never able to pick up the slack to make Star Fox more relevant or make more money for Nintendo because the entire franchise, the series, they're all good games. They just don't sell very well, and I don't know what's the reason of it. It's probably because everybody wants a Star Fox 64 again, but that kind of arcade-like gameplay can't be replicated again, or at least not sold at full price, as Nintendo will probably want to sell any new Star Fox game, and because of this want of selling this game for full price, that they don't go for the arcade style, because in arcade style Star Fox game like 64 only lasts like an hour of gameplay, and the fact that 64 is beloved so much is because it has so many options to go and to do, and how many planets you can travel and do different things, that makes it so fun and can't exactly be replicated today unless it's sold for cheap or it was a digital only game, which I don't think is what Nintendo wants, because I think Nintendo wants this franchise to succeed, because what other reason would they keep making Star Fox games after the poor reception of Adventures and not selling well of Assault? Proof of this is the collaboration with Ubisoft with Starlink, where this game has a special story exclusive to the Switch about Star Fox characters, and that tells a lot of Nintendo that's trying to take this franchise out of the limbo that it is, where it's kind of dead, it's kind of alive, it's a bit of a zombie, and that's something I can respect. But the way they're trying to revive Star Fox is by remaking Star Fox 64, and I don't think that's the way at all to revive this franchise, because everybody's already tired of 64, because although it's a great game, they've tried to redo this game several times. Like they re-released the game for the 3DS, and Star Fox Zero is a flat-out remake or reboot of Star Fox 64. People just want something new. I mean, I don't know what kind of new they want, but I mean, I personally want an Assault 2, because I actually like the ground battles. I hope if they do ground battles again, they improve the movement, because yikes, I'm just not a fan of tank controls in general, even though some games actually work fine with them. Also making the villain not Andros, having a variety of enemies, stages, levels, and character interaction. Another thing that I personally want for Nintendo to implement in Star Fox is go deep or embrace the space opera part of the franchise, because I like drama in my video games, because this franchise feels perfect for some soap opera thing, and also make it a little bit more anime with its storytelling. You know, talk about the power of love, power of friendship, and the power of teamwork, and all that stuff. That would be great. I also would like to have the level choosing of 64 and 2, because that would give the player a lot of choice of where to go, how they go through the game. It will also give the player a sense of control. Maybe implement some kind of RPG elements. Also, another thing I want them to bring back, something from Command, is the multiple characters having different R-wings and different ships, how they shoot, how the number of bombs, different kind of lasers, different kind of design R-wings. I would like to see that come back again. Also, multiple characters to choose and control. So, for my ideal Star Fox game, I think they should combine all elements of all games into one and balance them out very well, because I know that if not balanced well, the game would not be fun. It would be a mess and not fun. And I think a new game that takes risks is what this franchise needs to get out of this limbo state that they are. Because I want to see more games in this franchise, either more like spin-offs like that rumored Star Fox Grand Prix that never came true, that I think at this point that's not gonna happen. I think another thing that this franchise needs is better marketing, like market it a whole lot more than before. And also that Star Fox anime that they made for 30-minute episode. I don't remember. It's 30 minutes. I don't remember. It's based on Star Fox Zero. Make that an official series. That one shot was actually really fun to watch, and I think that Star Fox works well with animation. Also has a story that could be told in animation. And anime would help keep Star Fox in people's minds, so that people remember, this, I'm having so much fun watching this anime or cartoon, and I really want to play the games now. I want to get one and play it, that kind of stuff. Like, or maybe make a puppet show like they did on that E3 years ago. That would also be fun. I think it's just a shame what the state that this franchise is, and I hope that in the future it changes for the better. And I really want this franchise to succeed. I really love the Star Fox franchise, one of my favorite franchises. I love the characters, the story, the gameplay. Maybe Command's gameplay not so much. I blame the touchscreen controls for that. I love the music. I like the use of anthro characters, because I've always had a fascination with the idea of aliens being anthropomorphic characters. I think that's another reason that I was attracted to the franchise in the first place. I'm sorry if I was a little bit rambly, or a lot of rambly, or that I wasn't very informative. But I really wanted to make a video about this subject because I don't see a lot of people talking about Star Fox, and I think that needs to change. I think Nintendo needs to know that we want to see another Star Fox game. Maybe have Miyamoto not be so close to the project, because I think it was his idea about the controls of Star Fox Zero having a first-person perspective and have also a cinematic cutscenes, and it was his idea about the asymmetric gameplay, which could have worked, but it didn't, and that's all that people remember. So yeah, those are my thoughts on the state of Star Fox, at least as I came up with it in my mind as I was talking. Well, thank you guys very much for listening. I hope you have a great day or night. See you later. Bye.